UFC game cover curse is proving to be very bad for all the fighters who have their pictures plastered on EA Sports UFC game cover. All the fighters on the list to date have lost their very next fight. None of them could win. There are some very important names among these fighters who were never thought to lose, but then they got the privilege to be on the cover of the game and just then they fell. Only Alexander Volkanovski is left, who is an underdog in his next fight and seems to be losing against Islam Makhachev once again. So today we are gonna talk about the UFC cover curse and how serious it turns out to be. This notorious UFC cover curse struck again, with Israel Adesanya losing the UFC middleweight championship just days after being unveiled as a UFC 5 cover athlete, and Valentina Shevchenko also couldn't get the belt back. Despite entering the UFC 293 main event as a -650 betting favorite on most betting sites, Adesanya was outclassed by Sean Strickland over 5 rounds, losing by unanimous decision. The timing of Adesanya's loss is particularly egregious given that he was just featured as the cover athlete for UFC 5's premium edition earlier that week. This has reignited discussions around the so-called EA curse, a playful narrative suggesting that athletes who grace the covers of EA Sports game face subsequent misfortunes. The curse's history is hard to ignore. After gracing the UFC 4 cover in 2020, Jorge Masvidal suffered a loss to Kamaru Usman. Conor McGregor, the face of UFC 3 in 2018, faced a crushing defeat against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Ronda Rousey, shortly before the release of UFC 2 in 2016, experienced a shocking knockout loss to Holly Holm in what is regarded as one of the greatest upsets in MMA history. And Jon Jones, after appearing on the cover of EA Sports UFC in 2014, encountered legal troubles and was stripped of his title. The UFC 5 cover features Alexander Volkanovski and former flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko has also faced the curse as she could not get her title back in the rematch with Alexa Grasso. Now it is about Alexander Volkanovski, whose fight was going on with Ilia Topuria, and no one even dreamed that Volkanovski would manage this fight due to Charles Oliveira's exit because UFC had already given Mateusz Gamrot a fight as a backup. But Volkanovski accepted the fight on just 12 days notice and is very keen on a rematch with Islam Makhachev. But will this curse work here? Because Volkanovski has lost only one fight in his UFC career, and that is to Islam Makhachev in January. Now he is back in the octagon on just a few days notice, having moved up from his division and now up that division once again. Will Volkanovski win this fight or not? It will be seen this weekend. While some might brush off the idea of a curse as mere superstition, the series of unfortunate events following EA cover reveals is becoming hard to ignore. I can manage Volkanovski's this defeat, but what if it continues and Topuria beats him as well? No one knows. If Strickland can beat Adesanya in a dominant unanimous decision, then anything can happen. Do you believe in this curse or not? Tell me in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. So till then, do whatever you want.